All right, guys, welcome back to the Pulse with Willie and Al. How's it going today, bro?
Good, man. Pretty good. How about you? How about
Dude,
you?
things are going well here, man. I can't
Yeah.
complain. Weather's starting to get nice here. It's a little cold this week, but sports in America gives me a little bit to look forward to. So,
It's snowing here. So
Ru- I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
April 8th and it's snowing. That doesn't feel good. Um,
No, but it's pretty on brand for New England. So,
yeah, what about baseball and snow? How do you feel about that?
I've been to a couple Red Sox games in like early in like middle of April, and they're cold ones, man.
Yeah, that's
They're
not
yeah.
fun.
If you're there in April, like you're a little hardcore about it. You're willing to sit through 35-degree temperatures for 9 innings of baseball.
Yeah, I'd say you're a hardcore fan at that point. A real fan.
Yeah.
Man. Well, here we are, guys, back with episode number 75. Kind of another milestone, right? And today, we're going to be giving you some NFL coverage, some baseball coverage as well. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. And you guys know the drill, right? We are going to give tons of shout outs today, and then we'll give Al a chance to respond to some harsh criticism that has come up over the weekend that I have yet to tell him about. So,
Oh,
uh,
can't wait.
yeah,
Can't
there.
wait. I hope it's from your Uncle Roger. That's all I hope for.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
So, all right, let's dive into things. Let's do some NFL stuff first. So, I think probably the biggest news in the NFL was Trey McBride signing a lucrative extension with Arizona, not only making
Uh,
him the highest paid tight end in NFL history, but I mean, guy's a stud.
yeah.
I feel like you got to pay him. The guy's an absolute monster. In a day and age where you need a good tight end, or I feel like most good offenses have a good tight end. He was a piece that you just couldn't let walk. You had to be able to lock him up long term, and him and Harrison there together. I feel like that's going to be a dynamic duo for years to come in Arizona. So, what do you think about this? How's this hit you?
Yeah. 4 years, $76 million. What was it? 43 million guaranteed. Like that's insane money. And you know me, get that bag. So
Especially in Arizona.
yeah.
Buy a
Yeah.
nice chunk of property there for that. So
Yeah. So it's him, it's Kyler Murray, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. Like they're building a good core on offense. And yeah, I'm glad that he got locked up long term, because I think he was on the last year of his rookie deal. I think he was. So yeah, it's good to see.
one thing I wanted to mention, because I think Jonathan Gannon's changing the culture there quite a bit, and this is what year 3 for him now that he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think you start to see some of these teams start to build, and now what happened in Washington is kind of the anomaly, right? It just doesn't always happen that way. To have a quarterback come in and basically lead them to the NFC Championship game, it just doesn't happen. So, but what they're doing in Arizona, when you're trying to instill a good culture in the guys and get good free agents to come in there, and this will be the third year of them drafting and bringing guys in to really build around this core that they have. You have to be able to lock up guys like this that not only are great locker room guys but leaders on and off the field for you. It's really important. So really like this signing a lot. And I don't think there was any question of him going elsewhere. I think that was exactly where he wanted to be. So,
Yeah. And
um,
good for Arizona for getting it done now before like he has another monster season and then that price of that deal goes up.
you mean like Dallas?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Calling it pulling a Dallas. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, good thing they're located about, I don't know what, 7, 8, 900 miles west of
Yeah.
Texas. So,
Yeah.
all right, other news, and this is the memes have just been out of control the last few weeks on these two, but the Giants now have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, which I know is a little bit of kind of old news. I think we touched last week on Jameis being there, and then right after we recorded the show, they announced that Russell Wilson was signing. So it was like
God
too
bless.
too funny to see this. By the way, kind of a side note, at school, the kids have been assigned articles as part of reading homework and stuff,
Mm.
and one of them is titled Russell Wilson becoming a better person. That's what it's called. So
Jeez.
it was hysterical. That was a great read. But listen, he's going to New York. Hopefully he's able to get it done. He's got some decent weapons there with Malik Neighbors, a decent weapon with Malik Neighbors. Hopefully they're able to get it figured out. And if he's not, Jameis is just going to come in. He's going to throw his 2 touchdowns and 2 picks every game. And,
No.
then he'll have every third game, he'll throw 4 picks. That's what we get with Jameis Winston. But I think there should be a good vibe in the locker room in New York this year.
There's got to be something in that locker room in New York. Malik Neighbors is going to, if Jameis Winston's the starting quarterback, Malik Neighbors is going to get 200 targets this season.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he might even with Russ be in there.
Probably.
But, and this is the thing for me is I really actually think the Giants might beat a few teams this year and catch them by surprise. Like Russell Wilson, yeah, people say he's a bad quarterback, this and that. Like I don't know. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's got a ring on his finger.
Who knows?
He may
could have had 2.
Yeah.
Could have had 2.
Yeah, I know. The refs handed that one away, so or
How
something like
dare
that.
you?
Something
How
like that.
dare you?
All right.
Well,
So
Pete Carroll handed that to him.
well, speaking of Pete Carroll, and I don't know, in kind of a roundabout way, Geno Smith gets an extension.
Sure does.
And
Sure does.
And I want your perspective on this because he signed a pretty decent chunk of an extension with Las Vegas. So, like, what are your thoughts on it? They obviously believe in Geno there. Do you think they're going to be going after a quarterback in the draft, or what do you think is going to happen here?
I mean, the deal's what, 2 years, 75 million, and I think it's like 66.5 guaranteed, which means like he's getting all of that money, pretty much.
Yep.
And you love that for him. And yeah, I think that the problem is that with the Raiders this year is unless like somebody like Shador falls to him, I think they're picking like 6th. If Shador falls to him, that's great, but I don't think he's gonna fall that far.
Yeah.
He might, because everything I've been reading lately is like the new thing I've been reading is like Cleveland potentially taking Travis Hunter at 2, which then leaves the Giants with this weird decision of like, do they take another quarterback or do they take Abdul Carter when they're already stacked on the defensive line?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. To me, I think it's the best quarterback they've had in a while. Like,
it is.
And that's not saying much because they have had a bunch of quarterbacks that are ass. Yeah. So, he's a little older. But like, I think as a stopgap until you get somebody in the draft, like you could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I actually prefer him to some of the other guys there. Like I believe if you ended up putting Geno Smith on Minnesota last year, he would have done maybe not just as good as Sam Darnold, but I think he would have made just as many plays. I still think that maybe they win one less game, but I still think they're serviceable on that team. And
the Raiders have a good defense too. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
that defense is going to keep them in a lot of games this year.
It should, and I feel like a guy like Max Crosby, he's got to be pretty happy about what because they've had quarterbacks that it's been a turnover carousel with them with fumbling the ball, throwing picks, all of that. Now they've got a guy that knows the majority of the time how to protect the ball.
Yeah,
should be good there.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of, well, let's leave this for last because this is a not happy one. So, the Cowboys traded for Milton, which kind of curious your thoughts on that.
Hilarious.
The articles that I've read, well, it could be, but I'm going to pitch something to you in a second. So, what was your thought on it? Because obviously you guys have Drake May, but Milton was electric last year when we saw him play. So just kind of your thoughts of
Um,
him in New England there.
I know what I'm about to say. I know is not Joe Milton's fault, but Joe Milton playing out of his mind in Week 18, costing us the #1 pick in the draft. I'll never forgive him for. I'll never forgive him for. Like, and I know that it's not his fault. He was not coached properly. Uh, but still, god damn it.
Yeah.
That being said, uh, I think it's really funny that somehow the Patriots got draft capital for this. Like, good for them. Good for them.
Yeah, like okay, I almost think he did you guys a favor in a bit because okay, like I don't know, maybe Cleveland takes Travis Hunter and I know it's kind of been trending that way, but were you guys really going to take a quarterback at 1?
No, we're going to take an Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter.
Yeah. But I think it
Yeah.
makes it a difficult decision at that point. Whereas where you guys are drafting what third, fourth,
Fourth.
fourth.
Unfortunately, fourth. And that's where that kind of becomes an issue because there's a world where both Hunter and Carter are gone by 4.
I
And
just
then it's like,
I
all
just
right,
don't think
cool.
that's going to happen. I think Ward's going 1, and then from that point on, I really think someone's going to trade up. Cleveland is Cleveland has this thing where they're like, nah, let's just take the picks. Let's take the picks, or like let's pick a quarterback, or I don't know what they decide there, but they're going to make a
Yeah.
bad decision. I know it's going to happen, but I just wanted to pitch this to you. What if he becomes the starter in Dallas?
I mean, to be honest with you, can't be much worse than Dak. Like, respectfully, like when Dak plays, here's the thing with Dak. If if you need a drive and you're down 4 with 2 minutes to play, I don't trust that Dak's getting the touchdown for you. I don't respectfully. Like, tell me I'm wrong. I
Listen, I actually think Dak's quite a good quarterback. And I'm not going to say he's one of the elites cuz I think there's a lot of guys that I would rather have than him. But you're telling me he's worse than 26, 27, maybe 28 other quarterbacks in the league? I don't know, man. It's tough. Like
no, but like I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback though.
no, 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 no. But I would say if you have him outside the top 15, that's kind of pushing it a bit. Right? Like I think he's definitely in that next crew of guys. And that's only because there's been younger guys that have come in that have really shown that they can handle stuff, right? You know, your
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts has crept up too. Like these are guys that are having a lot of success and stuff. Even a guy like Matt Stafford, I trust him more than I do Dak, but I still think when Dak has played, dude puts up numbers, man. Like for
He puts
real.
up numbers in a loss most of the time.
So my biggest concern is I just don't see when they play really tough competition, I don't see him play his best. And that's a
Yeah.
frustrating piece. So I'm not going to say that he can't get those 4 points or get that touchdown for you, but against good competition, I think it's much more difficult to see him do that. And I
Yeah.
I do think there's a path where Milton could see some time, whether Dak gets hurt, I which I don't want, but like
Yeah.
Milton could breathe some life into that team.
Also with that division too, nobody's repeated as division champions in like what, like 15 years or something. Like, so
Yeah.
if that trend continues, like there's a world where I suppose Dallas could win, but like
Oof.
I
I
don't
I
they're
feel
kind
like
of a mess.
their window's shutting.
I think their window is closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Well, some sad news kind of. Trey Hendrickson, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
he's not happy. And I don't blame him, right? Because like you hear the owner come out and say like at some point he's just got to take what we give him and stuff. And it's like, well, he doesn't, but this is the hard part with that, and this is kind of the catch 22 is that like if at some point he doesn't, he could find himself, and he's requested the trade, right? He could find himself playing in a place like Carolina where there's absolutely no chance of him seeing the playoffs, and that isn't exactly what he wants to do.
Right.
So like I don't know, when you look at guys like Brady, and it used to piss me off so much with him, but he'd get paid like $8 million for the year, which like easily at that point was a $30 million quarterback, and they're like, yeah, we're
Sure.
we're paying him eight because
He's the team first guy.
yeah, he's a team first guy. They want to bring in all these guys on defense. They want to bring in Randy Moss, whatever it was, right? All the guys that they wanted to re-sign, they did that. Um, and it allowed them to kind of put together a super team to be able to do
Mhm.
that. And I know, like, you got to pay guys that the Bengals have, right? Higgins just got paid, Chase got paid, Burrow got paid last year. Like, there's just not a ton of room left. And I know Hendrickson is a very sought after player by many teams. Like, tell me he couldn't step in on the Falcons and be destructive for them. Like, and they
Oh,
could
sure.
win that division. Like, I don't know. Maybe not win the division, but be very competitive in the division with him. Like, he's a monster, man. He makes a team instantly better. Uh, and
I have to imagine. I have to imagine he'll be traded by the time camp starts. I do. Like,
it could come up on the draft. And I hate to say that,
yeah.
but it could. But I don't know. I had a weird feeling the other night that like somehow, some way, this just ends up with like a Howie Roseman phone call, and like all of
I'll
us,
kill somebody. I'll do it. I'll fucking kill
all
somebody.
of a sudden he's wearing the Eagles uniform, and like they go out and they just dominate people again, and it's like he's like, who gets the last laugh now, right? Like it's
If
just
I have to watch an Eagles game next year where Trey Hendrickson and Jalen Carter are on the same goddamn line,
and
I'll lose
Jordan
it.
Davis, dude, like
Yeah,
what?
and Jordan. Yeah, I'll lose it. I
Yeah,
will lose it.
yeah. Um, interesting. So, listen, I hope he gets paid. I really do. I hope they're able to figure out and come to an agreement on like an amount that he's going to feel comfortable playing for there. And it seems like they haven't right now. But I hate these disagreements on good teams, right? Because like the Bengals window is right now, like the next 3-4 years. They've got to
Yeah.
try to figure it out. They really do because I really think Joe Burrow, when I look back in the history of football, I feel like Joe Burrow is a quarterback that is good enough to win a Super Bowl. And I want to see it happen. I really do. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to see. Anything else you wanted to mention about NFL stuff before we move on to baseball?
Nah, drafts in a couple weeks. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
Again,
next
I
week we can
am I
break down
losing
a little bit on that.
am I losing sleep over who New England's going to take at 4? Absolutely.
Yep,
Absolutely. This feels like a really big draft for the Patriots.
it does.
Um, yeah. And again, I wouldn't be losing sleep over this if we just had fucking lost to Buffalo in week 18.
Well, this is the other thing too, and kind of one of the bonuses of picking up so high, right? Is not only do you get a high pick in the first round, but you also come back and usually get a high pick in the second round, which is almost
Yeah.
like a first round pick. It, it,
Yeah.
it really is like a late first rounder. That's what it feels like. But it feels good when you wake up the second day and you're like, yo, we're picking early tonight. This is going to be
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
the guys that fall, like there's going to be a ton of research that night after the first 32 go, and then they're going to be looking and saying, okay, who's the guy that fell? Who are we going to pick up here?
Right.
Um, and Vrabel, like I could, I could not envision a world where like he doesn't take Carter if he's there, or he doesn't take Hunter if he's there. I don't know, man. Like, oh, I see them trading out and possibly getting, you know, pulling back in the draft, maybe a couple picks to be able to snag a good tackle or something like that at that point.
Yeah.
Just because there's enough quarterback needy teams, it could happen. So, all right, man, let's move on to baseball. Something we're going to have a ton of fun talking about today. First thing, I mean, we might as well start off with the great news, right? Just the absolute best. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a historic start for the Dodgers, and not record wise. And we're going to talk about this for a second because the Dodgers are currently third in the division right now at 9-3.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Philly this weekend kind of gave them a lot of fits, and like there are some breaks in that armor. You can beat this team.
you can, but also the this is the thing. I'm going to ask you again: is 120
Sure.
possible?
Sure, it's possible. I don't think with this team it's gonna happen.
Okay. All right.
And I'll give you a couple reasons. I think defensively, they're kind of suspect a little bit. Like you watch that Philly series this weekend, and they just kind of had a lot of errors.
Hmm.
And like even like dudes like Mookie Betts making like Mookie Betts is not a shortstop. Let's start there.
Yeah.
But like even he made some errors that you're like, yikes.
Woof.
Two, Blake Snell's already on the IL. Like Sasaki's kind of he's still new. Like this is a new league to him, so like it's gonna take him time to get his act together. Like they're pitching. Like I'm gonna say a thing, and Otani has no plans of coming back soon. Right now, they're still trying to like ramp him up. I think he threw. I want to say it was this weekend. He threw like a 26 pitch bullpen session.
Yeah, I know people were all
So
excited about it.
I don't think you see him before the All-Star break, and I don't think that really matters because you just need him in October.
Right. Which I think
Um,
he could be dominant in October.
yeah, but I do think there's a world where you can kind of beat this team. They're starting pitching like if Snell's already hurt, like that's and Glasnow's coming back from injury. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, I think you can get this team. I think you can. Like,
I
also maybe stop pitching to Otani. Call me crazy.
yeah,
Call me crazy.
I don't know.
Just don't pitch to him.
People aren't learning from that, especially my
Yeah.
Braves. They were like, "Ah, yeah, let's throw first pitch, bomb. There we go." And I'm like, game over. There we
I
go.
didn't even like send it to you because I was like, I didn't have the heart to send it
Don't
to
worry.
you.
Don't worry.
I
I saw it 15 times
yeah,
on my Instagram reels,
sure.
right? Like it was,
Yeah, it felt like rubbing salt in a wound.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's the worst part
yeah,
of it is I really like Otani. So it hurts.
yeah. Me
It
too.
hurts, but at the same time, it's kind of feels good too. The one
You
thing
want
that,
to?
yeah,
Oh no, you finish first because I have a
I
question
just
for you.
wanted to say like this really bugged me a lot. Like speaking of Instagram, I saw a few reels of Sasaki kind of they showed him after he'd been pulled from the game and kind of tears in his eyes and like dude some of the comments that people make and I realize it's a cesspool of I don't even want to get into it but like unintelligence, right? But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
it just for me like to hear some people to read what people were saying about him that he should go back to his country and like all of this stuff it's like hold up 1 second, pump the brakes. Like
Yeah.
this guy was one of the best pitchers ever in Japan, ever, and he's 23. Like give him a break. He's had what, 2 starts? Like let him go.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's a third start now that he's had, but like give him a break, man. Like let him catch his he's going to get a few beatings. People are going to hit him. It's going to be okay. Like he's going to figure it out. The guy's
He's
got
still
to
he's 23 as well. Like
yeah,
leave the guy alone.
I
Like
know.
yeah,
I think he's going to get things figured out. With that division, and this is the thing that's interesting to me as well is San Diego and San Francisco have gotten off to a hot start as well.
sure have.
Um,
Yeah.
I do you see them pushing them like similar to last year? Like the Dodgers seem to be out in front and kind of had that like even though it was like 4 or 5 games lead last year, they kind of maintained that almost all season. Do you see the same thing happening this year that the Dodgers are going to get up, kind of keep that cushion above them, or do you see them being pushed by San Diego and San Francisco all year?
Well, I think that like with San Diego and the Giants, I think they both have the talent to do it. It's just a matter of if they can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you this before we started recording. I don't really trust anything you see in April. Like I just don't
Yeah.
because I've been fooled too many times. Like by guys with a red hot start in April. I remember a couple years ago, Stephen Kwan was like hitting like 400 for the month of April, and you're like everybody's like Stephen Kwan, and like Stephen Kwan, good outfielder, but like, come on. And so for me, like it's always, hey, come talk to me June 1st. Because June 1st, you kind of start having an idea of who is who. Like who the player, like who the actual you think contenders might be. Well, except we can already eliminate the White Sox. They're already on a 5 game losing streak. So like we love to see that.
Hey,
We love to see
you
that.
watch it. Watch it.
I think
I don't. I know what you're gonna
I,
say. I don't want to hear it.
I mean the Braves were on a 7-game losing streak, so like,
Listen, they're hitting a buck 93 through 10 games. They are lighting the world on fire right now.
yeah,
They got
they're
one
doing
win.
some.
They
They're
got
doing
one.
something.
Yeah, the one win they got, they look dominant. So that is the saving grace. I'm gonna ride that, and I'm gonna make a call right now. It is
Yeah,
April 8th,
yeah.
2025, and I'm telling you that the Atlanta Braves will make the playoffs this year. You heard it here first. No team has
Yeah.
ever done that, and I'm telling you that they are going to do that this year. So,
Okay.
give me my flowers at the end of the season when it happens. They're going to get it
Well,
figured out, man. They're too good. They're
can I
too
ask a
good,
question?
too talented of a team to not
Can
get
I
it
ask a
figured out.
question?
Yeah.
If they don't make the playoffs, can we clip this and play this back?
Yes. Embarrass me
Okay, cool,
publicly.
cool. Asking for a friend, the friend is me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Do you want to take a minute to just to like with Atlanta, like what you've watched the first couple of weeks of the season? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a little surprising even to me.
It's very difficult to watch them, not only because of the time difference, but because when I am watching them on and I bring them up and I'm streaming the games, it's very difficult to watch the game through the tiers. Um,
Yeah,
so
sure.
it's very difficult. I can barely make out people. Um,
Yeah,
but it looks really bad right now, and I'm hoping like this kind of felt like the way it was towards the beginning last year, but they had some guys that were producing, right? Uh,
right.
Now it just feels like everyone is not, but they've got guys that are injured. They've got guys coming back.
I mean, Suarez has already hit 5 homers for you guys. So like,
Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I just think they're too good of a team to not get it figured out. And I really, really think like, okay, who did they play at the beginning? The first week they ended up playing the Dodgers and stuff, and that's a
yeah,
really tough matchup for them. Always has been. Do you want to lose to the Dodgers now, or do you want to lose to them in October? That's
yeah.
kind of the way I'm thinking about it. So figure out what you got to do, and every team that is like you said, come and see me June 1st. How are you playing in April is not how you're playing in April is not going to be the way you're
Yeah.
playing in June or August. So I just
Yeah.
this is a team that when they go on a streak and they get hot, they're going to be very dangerous, man. They've got a lot of really really good bats on this team.
And they
And
still have Strider and Acuna coming back as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Like,
man. So like the pitching's going to be there. They're going to have it. I know bullpen is still kind of scary for me, but uh
sure is.
uh
Yeah,
but um yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. Um
yeah.
am I saying they're going to win the World Series? No, man. But I really think this is a team that, on paper, can make the playoffs, even with the bad start that they've had. Anything can turn around.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if this is like a bias because of the division that you play in. But there's been all the talk about these new bats the Yankees have, and
Torpedoes that
yeah,
baby.
and I just want to point out that like after the Yankees introduced these bats, every Major League Baseball club ordered these bats. So
Yep.
every team brought these in. Not everyone's using them. Judge, I don't think is using them.
No,
Um,
Judge is leading the league in homers right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big boy. Um, so I'm just like, can you explain it? What your thoughts are on it, and like, I don't know, just kind of like what the hype is about this, and what people are going to deal with going forward.
Um. So we'll start with like what is a torpedo bat for all intents and purposes, and it's the Yankees hired a guy essentially to make the sweet spot of a bat of like the barrel of the bat like so they took from like the bottom of the bat, they took some of the area from that and moved it to the top of the bat,
Hmm.
so you have a bigger sweet spot so you can hypothetically hit a ball further and make more contact with a baseball.
Hmm.
um I think what kind of gets lost in this is while it helps, you still have to hit the ball. And what you saw in that Brewers game was Nestor Cortez giving up 3 homers on 3 straight pitches.
Yeah.
So how much of it is torpedo bat? How much of it is Nestor Cortez is an awful pitcher who is now on the IL? Like, yeah.
Uh,
Also, too, Yankee Stadium's a pretty easy place to hit home runs. Not for me or you, but like to an average major leaguer.
yeah. Yeah. Not for
So,
us. It's just funny to hear guys talk about this like throughout the league. I don't know. My favorite person to probably get interviewed with any sort of baseball question about someone other than his team, like teams other than his, is Bryce Harper. I
Sure.
I love. First of all, he seems like the my favorite guy that I'd love to have a beer with and just go and sit down and be able to hang out with. But to hear him talk about like some of these other situations that are going on, it's pure comedy, man. It's like, and it's kind of funny too. It's like people get offended by it, but he's like, oh yeah, people are upset about the Dodgers. They're upset about these torpedo bats and stuff too, with the Yankees and stuff. He's like, I think it's just losers talking. Like it's kind of funny to hear that, man.
Honestly, like it's not like they're making the bat bigger. The bat's still the same size. They're
Right.
just moving. They're adjusting areas. They're removing area from some bat and adding it to another. And like honestly, like with as good as pitching is, like I don't know, man. If it evens the playing field, sure. Like I don't know. I don't hate it. Like
Very interesting, the guy that they brought in. To hear him talk about it, it's wow.
yeah,
Pretty awesome. Speaking of a guy that got a lot of torpedo bats, or he'll be able to buy a lot of his own, Vlad Jr. gets this 14-year, $500 million deal. So just from the Blue Jays, just curious your thoughts on that. Because in my mind, like it doesn't seem like Toronto is typically a big spender. So for them
no,
to
but they were in the Sasaki and Otani sweepstakes last year.
That's right.
in,
That's
in the
right.
last 2 years. Like they were like in the final couple of teams, and they just got outspent. Like
Hmm.
that's the long and short of it. And I think with having Vlad and Anthony Statlander who signed with them for like I think it was like 5 years, 92 million in the offseason. Like
Yeah.
I think this is like the duo you're going to try to build around. I'm going to be honest with you. I am shocked on the length of the deal. Because I
Yeah.
think after year 14, we'll put Vlad at 42. And respectfully, there's no way that guy's making it to 42. Um, Also, I kind of thought that he was going to get more. Like 500 million is a lot of money. It's
Yeah.
more money than you and I will ever see in our lifetimes. I honestly thought he was going to get upwards of 6.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I really did. I thought somebody would have given that to him. But like, good on Toronto for knowing, like, hey, if we don't get this extension done now, like we're not going like he's gonna walk for nothing.
Yeah.
And like and for all intents and purposes, like everybody in Toronto loves Vlad. They do. Like so, I love that for him. He's gonna stick it out in Toronto and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, good for him to be able to stick there and be able to play in the same uniform. It just, they I think the idea behind the deal was he's going to retire here, and um that's got to be a good feeling for a player, man. To know
Yeah.
that they got your back like that. Um Anything else you wanted to cover on baseball real quick?
It's nice getting frustrated with the Red Sox again. That feels like kind of like a little bit of normalcy in my life. I did start watching Clubhouse, which is the Netflix show that the Red Sox did about last season.
Mhm.
And I think that was like that's actually been really good. I'm kind of real hit or miss on the Netflix sports documentaries series.
Mhm.
Um, they do a really good episode. I think it's like episode 4, where Jared Duran, who was an All Star last year for the Sox, talked about in like 2022, like he tried to kill himself, and I think like my takeaway from that is like as somebody that really struggles with mental health, I like when we can have open and honest conversations about it. And that
Yeah.
like I think especially when you see it from athletes who are like, hey, like I'm just a normal human that's under an intense amount of pressure. Like I'm really glad that like he was like open and honest about that. And I think that like anything we can have any discussion that we can always have about like mental health and like getting the resources and the help, which is also like really hard to get because with a lack of therapists it like everywhere because like everybody needs the help, there's just not enough therapists. And yeah, I'm really glad that like he's still around, and I'm glad that like he's getting help, and I just that makes me really happy. And I, if anybody out there like is struggling, like it doesn't have to be the end. That's
Right.
the long and short of it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
It's definitely, and I like, just to kind of echo what you said about athletes being able to use their podium to reach more people, right? Because they're in a position where what they say impacts a lot of people. This gives them a chance to kind of use their platform for something positive and share their experiences and hopefully save someone else's life by doing that.
absolutely.
So definitely a big thing, and very brave of him to come out and talk about that, because that's a very vulnerable thing to bring up. Um, yeah. Anything else you wanted to mention in regards to baseball?
No, I'm just excited that games are on every night. Sometimes in the afternoon, later in the week usually.
Hmm.
That's just always a good time. Always a good time. Like I said, it's April, so I don't really trust anything that I see. Although, shout out Rafi Devers after starting 0 for 19, being 10 for 19 cents. We love that. We're yeah.
Yeah, that
So
I just and I know the Red Sox are going to need it to be able to climb up this division and stuff. It looked much better a few days ago when Uncle Roger was talking about it, as the Yankees didn't lose two straight, but he had mentioned, "Oh, it's very difficult seeing you so far down there in the standings." Which
yeah, no, I bet it is.
now
I bet
it's
it is.
just half a game back, and it looks very different now.
Yeah,
So, but just I know he's going to have more to say, probably in the comments for you. Just quick shout
sure.
out to the Tigers being first, in first
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
kind of awesome for that.
yeah. We
Um,
love to see that for Big Ray.
yeah, yeah, definitely a good thing. And I know we're going to get into more of it in the next couple of weeks, but just excited that baseball's back and hopefully moving in the right direction. By the way, the brothers, my dad and Roger, they're going head to head this week, um,
Good,
as the Yankees
good.
play Detroit. So, um,
Well, on this show, I'm legally obligated to say "fuck the Yankees."
ah,
Yeah, that's all I can say about that.
there
Go
it
Tigers,
goes. There,
go Tigers.
let it rip. So.
Yeah,
All right, man. Okay. I think this is it. We're gonna wrap up for this week, but thanks for joining in, guys. Like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and drop a like on the video, and we will be back next week, giving you more. But I love you, bro, and thank you.
and I love you too.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.